Jay, it's great seeing you, man. It's great having you back with us. Why don't you get us started?
Well, how would you characterize or any conversations with Trey Nixon?
All right, let's have somebody else get us started. Hobson, you got something? I don't throw anything on or off the table with Trey. We're excited about attacking this offseason. We have resources to attack the offseason in a big way, and we want to do that. In terms of how we're going to do that, how we're going to allocate our resources, who is it going to be on, our own free agents, what's our intentions there. I'm not going to get into that right here. It's just not the time to announce that to the rest of the league. So that's the best way I can answer that.
In your evaluation of running backs, what's the priority for you versus ball carrying versus pass protection? For example, there's a running back out of your backyard in Cincinnati who had great production in Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Cincy. Mm-hmm. He's also a great pass protector. Is a guy like Tawee Walker on your roster?
Yeah, we try to keep a lot of people on our radars for sure. And, for us individually, the way that we operate, pass protection's a big thing. You obviously got to have skill to carry the ball, and you've got to have skill to be a pass game threat to some degree, and you've got to be able to protect. And the position with the Cincinnati Bengals is pretty demanding. It really is. And that's what Chase came in and really embraced is how do I become a complete back and stay on the field. And he became a pass protector. He became a threat in the pass game. And he's obviously a very talented ball carrier. So we look at all three, and we don't really rank them 1, 2, or 3. They kind of got to have it all for us to feel like they can be an every down contributor for us.
How do you balance your desire to upgrade the roster this offseason with potential extensions, Chase Brown, DJ Turner, Daxel?
Yeah, in terms of extensions and how that affects the rest of it, sometimes you can do extensions within the cap count that you currently have, and sometimes you can't. We juggle all those things. That we have a number of resources, and we're going to use them the best way that we can to improve as many areas of our roster as we can. We have things that we definitely want to get done, and we've put a lot of time into it. We've had a lot of people involved in trying to sketch out the best plan. Now, the best plan never goes as orchestrated, but we have a good plan in place, and we're looking to improve our team in every way we can. And if that's with extensions, so be it.
Last year, you guys obviously took Shamar in the first round, and you took 2 linebackers later. Did that process, that approach to rebuilding the defense teach you anything about how you might use the draft to do likewise?
Yeah, we're always trying to fit, where we're picking to the talent level. And we don't want to just reach for a need. And so we're picking 10th this year. We're not going to rank 10 of the same position in order and take the 10th best guy at his position. So you always have to be flexible in terms of the positions. But yeah, there are definite areas of our football team that we're looking to enhance, and it can come from within, but some of it has to come from external sources, and the draft is a big chance for us to really hit on guys that can be long-term contributors for us, and then we'll look to free agency and maybe with some extensions, and we'll try to fill it in the best we can.
When it comes to analytics, data, information, AI and all any models that help streamline the process?
Yeah, AI. We dabble in AI. Yeah, we try to use as many resources as we can. It's still new to us. Analytics is not new to us. Analytics has been around for a long time, just in different forms. It's become more prevalent, and it's become more robust over time, but it's been around ever since somebody timed to 40. That's an analytic, and so as long as that's been around, or how tall are you, or how much do you weigh, those are all analytics as well. So it's grown in importance, and AI continues to develop over time, and we're trying to stay up to speed on it for sure.
How big of a factor is age, especially in the first round, age when you're evaluating
age in terms of the college guys, you know, we're getting a lot of variation there because a lot of guys are staying in longer. I don't believe a 25-year-old is old. I think a 25-year-old is young. Still has a lot of football left in his body. So it's a data point. It's something we're aware of. It might affect the longevity down the road. But sometimes it can also be a benefit. The guy's a little more mature in his body, a little more stable maybe in how he conducts himself in his personal life or whatever it is. But, you know, age is a number. Guys are playing longer these years, and so it's a factor, but it's not a big factor for us.
While you might spend a different position than you did entering 2021 and 2022, when you talk about attacking the offseason, do you see yourself taking a similar approach than you did in free agency in 2021 and 2022?
In 2021 and 2022, I'm kind of forward-looking, so I'm trying to think of exactly what all happened in those years. But yeah, we're going to attack it, you know, and try to build our roster from all sources. And the draft is one of those sources. Free agency is another. Perhaps re-signing some of our impending free agents is another. Extensions so they don't get to free agency is another way to do it. But we're going to look at all areas, and we're going to try to attack this offseason and fit our needs with the right people. And that's what our focus is, and we're excited about it because we have resources to go out and do some things.
Where you guys at in your conversation with Dalton Reisner? How much did a very public kind of support from teammates, and how much did that impact you talking to him?
With Dalton Reisner? You know, he came in late to the process, really fit in. You know, I thought it ended up being a great fit for him in how we play, and he became a great fit for us and came in and filled the need for us, did a nice job, fit in well. I've got a ton of respect for him. Really enjoyed getting to know him. He's really, you know, a fantastic person just to be around in the locker room on a day-to-day basis. And he's a guy that we've talked to, and we'll see if we can get something done. He's got decisions to make, and we've got decisions to make, and he's a guy that we like a lot.
During this time of the year, it tends to be a lot of the projections and what is externally for people about specific players on other teams. I know you're not going to talk specifically about other players, but the concept of all-in continues to come up with the Bengals because of Joe, where he's at in his career. How would you guys say as an organization, you guys even juxtapose knowing you guys are fully aware this is your championship window with Joe, Jamar, and team, but also wanting to be able to protect picks in the future? Where do you guys stand with that mentality?
So the question's on whether we're all in or not. I've been doing this a long time. I've never not been all in. We are all in. We are trying to get the best team possible with the resources we have. You know, last year we went all in. We signed over $400 million worth of contracts going all in. That's what we do. We want to be all in. We're trying to put the best roster together every year, and this year is no different.
With the needs you have on defense, how much for you and Zach does the familiarity of the having a year of film, a year of data, things such as substitution patterns, blitz rate, how much does all that stuff factor into how you guys now have a better feel of what you need to add to that defense?
You know, I've always been very impressed with Al, and the thing, Al is very flexible. You know, he can take what he has and make a good defense out of it. He can, and I believe that, and I think he will do that. He has a vision for what he wants to be, and it's my job to go out and fill the needs that will fulfill that vision that he has. And so, yeah, do I have 100% confidence that we'll get that done together? I do. I believe in Al. I believe in Zach. I think their vision is the right vision, and it's on the guys in the personnel department, with their help, to go out and identify guys and then see if we can get them signed. You know, it's a two-part thing. You can want somebody and maybe they don't want you, or they go somewhere else and they're not available to you. But we want to identify the right ones, then we want to go out and attack and see if we can get them to Cincinnati.
You mentioned resources. Is a tag trade and resources? How do you do that?
We're back to Trey. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about how we're gonna deploy our resources and what our intention is with the tag, or I'm not gonna close any doors on any player that we've had or any of our free agents up here today. I'm just not going to do that. Trey's been a great player for us. He didn't have the year he wanted this year. We didn't have the year we wanted this year. Those are factors, and we'll see where we go from there. But in terms of how we're going to deploy the tag, if we are going to, that's not something I'm going to talk about here.
When you were scouting the guy out, how important was the 40 time, specifically, just generally?
Yeah, it's a data point. I think AI would have told us that it was pretty good, and it was fast. That's a position, depending on how you want to play them. And we want guys that can run and cover and play in man, cover deep balls. And he showed that he had those traits. He showed it on tape. So the 40 time was more of a confirmation of what we believed he was, what we saw on tape. If the 40 time doesn't confirm that one way or the other, we go back to the tape and we determine whether his playing speed is good enough or not. But it's always comforting to know that a player you feel is fast comes out and runs fast, then you're pretty confident in your assessment. The conversation, which one was that? Yeah, I haven't had a real good time to sit down and have a debrief with Joe, if that's what you're asking. I've had a few conversations with him, and I always enjoy our interactions. I really do. I can tell you, he doesn't feel the season went well, and neither do I. So I think we're aligned on that. Yeah. Yeah, Seattle did a nice job, and they had a very good front, and they had a physical front, and they had a wave of guys that kept coming through, and that's something every team wants. You ask anybody in my position with any of the other teams, they want that defensive line, they want the wave, and we would like to get to the point where we have a couple different groups we can deploy in there and keep them fresh and really get after the passer. And you got to stop the run in order to get after the passer. And it was impressive to see, Seattle's D-line play, and they had a great scheme, and congrats to them. John's a good friend of mine.
In that regard, with Shamar Stewart, how did you feel like he played and what his role maybe looks like going forward, and how much do you have to have a good feel for that to understand how you're going to maybe try to attack free agency in a position like it?
I'm excited about Shamar. All of us are excited about Shamar. The first year didn't go the way he wanted. He didn't have a ton of practice. He played healthy in the first game, and then he wasn't healthy the rest of the year. And that's tough on a young guy, because when you're not healthy, you're also not practicing. And so he didn't get those reps. To his credit, he had never been injured in his football career ever. And he had two pretty significant injuries this year, battled back to be able to get on the field for us, and that was that was good to see. That was good to see, his ambition and his drive to, I'm getting back out there, I'm not going out like this, I want to play. And so those were all positives. But to analyze his season is tough, because he really wasn't healthy beyond the first game. Yeah, you want guys that play football well, but you want guys that can play NFL football well. And those traits are what drive a lot of really great players. And we do like guys that are big enough, fast enough, strong enough. You have to have those things. You can't just have desire. Desire with not any physical traits, you're going to be doing my job, and you're not going to be playing NFL football for us. But there's a marriage between the two. Young guys like those two that you mentioned, those guys have a lot of future in front of them, and so we want to build that future with them, and we believe that that'll be a really positive future.
You look for your next external leader maybe to come in the building on defense.
Yeah.
You, Steve, Trey, sit down, what are those traits leadership-wise where you have a consensus of, okay, this is something we need to add more of?
Yeah, in order to be a leader, though, you got to have skins on the wall, and you got to play effectively, and the rest of your teammates have to know that you are producing at a high level. It's hard to lead, when you're not out on the field or you're not producing well. So the first trait of a good leader is production, is actually producing in a way that everyone respects and wants to mimic. So you have to have that, and then you have to have, the outward charisma, and you've also got to be willing to have tough conversations with people. And so finding leaders sounds easy, but there's a lot of components that go into that, and there's a lot of different leadership styles that can work. And I think we've got some inside of our own building that'll continue to evolve and grow in those roles. And then if we can find some ready-made guys who have the skins on the wall that come in and help us in those areas, that'll be good.
How much further along are you guys at this point this year, given at this point you might have been working with Al for 1 or 2 weeks in his position, Jerry Montgomery, Zach brought back his entire position.
Yeah.
How much further along are you guys at this point this year than you were last year?
Unfortunately, we're really far along. When your season goes kaput and you're out of it, you're into this area a lot quicker. And we have stability on our coaching staff, and so we are far along. We feel very confident in what we want to do, who we'd like to do it with, and we'll see if those things can come together. But we feel like we're really prepared for this event and for free agency.
What are the most important traits you're looking for from top college prospects?
The most important traits? The number one trait, you have to love football. You have to be playing football because you enjoy the game. If you're playing football just because of what it brings you, it's normally not going to be a long-term thing for you. You have to be playing football because you love doing it. And so we really want to know, does the guy love football? If it didn't bring the things that NFL football brings, which are great, but if it didn't bring those things, would he still be playing? Would he still be playing in the Arena Football League or wanting to go to the CFL? Or does he love the game? And then we can build off of that. Does he have the traits to play? Does he have the speed, the size, the strength? Does he have the production? Can he develop the production? Those things all come after. Does the guy enjoy being out there, being in the locker room and competing? And that's the number one thing we're trying to find. It's not easy to put a pin on that. Nobody will raise their hand and say, nah, I'm not about that. They'll tell you they're about it, but you have to judge their actions, how they play, their interactions with their teammates, the information you get from the sources at the school, and you have to divine whether the guy really enjoys what he wants to do for a living.
All right, thanks, Jim. We're going to switch.
You bet.